welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite thriller recommendations. Thriller and horror books are my favorite genres to read, and so I have quite a few different recommendations. I'm going to be talking about 5 of the most favorite ones that I have read in the last little while. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these before or if they sound good to you and you're planning to put on your TBR. These are going to be perfect for the spooky kind of fall season. And we're going to kick off the video starting with an audiobook that I have read recently called Missing Molly by Natalie Borelli. And this book, let me tell you, kept me on the edge of my seat. I actually listened to the whole thing, I think in the span of 2 days, or was it 1 day? It didn't take me very long. I could not put it down. I just had it in my ear the whole day as I was doing whatever I was doing. I was listening to it in the background. So basically, the story follows Rachel, who is working for a newspaper that is really starting to tank. I mean, it's a newspaper. As we all know, newspapers probably are struggling in general right now, but this particular newspaper is going to have to close its doors unless they can think of something to help save it. So one day, Rachel's boss calls a meeting, a staff meeting, where he shares how he plans to save the newspaper. And how he plans to do that is by starting a podcast. Not just any podcast, a true crime podcast, because as we know, true crime, all the rage nowadays. And this particular podcast is actually going to be focusing on a crime that happened in their town 12 years ago. It's going to be called Missing Molly, and it is going to be in search of Molly, a missing girl who went missing after her entire family was slaughtered. She was the only person, was never found. They never knew what happened to her. They assumed that she was killed, buried somewhere, but police weren't sure why the killer would do that, because he left the rest of the family to be found. So it's very, very strange. Molly is nowhere to be found. They have no idea where she is. She's never had a trace of her anywhere. And it's kind of become a local legend and local lore as to where this young girl possibly could have gone. Now, like I said, we are following Rachel, who works for this paper, and when she hears this plan, she absolutely freaks out because she actually is Molly and she does not want to be found. So then I'm not giving anything away from that, because that is revealed within the first chapter, and that is the premise of this book, is that our protagonist, who by the way is actually, I would definitely say, an unreliable protagonist. So that is the other part of this that keeps you guessing, because she is very upfront about some mental health struggles that she has had in the past. And so you as the reader are left wondering, is this the situation that this woman is making us believe it is? You can't really rely on what she's saying, and you're not sure if she's telling the truth to you. So I really was just guessing to the very end to find out, first of all, why, if she is Molly, why doesn't she want to be found, and say what she knows. And also in general, people are digging into this case now, and she is kind of trying to do the opposite effect, because her coworkers are trying to figure out what's happened to this girl, and she is not wanting them to figure out that she is Molly. So she's kind of going backwards and trying to cover things up, and it kind of it just makes you really, really wonder what the heck is going on. So I definitely recommend this one. I gave this one a 5 out of 5, and it's going to be perfect for the fall season. It's really, really weird, spooky vibes. The next book that we're going to talk about is Ruthless by Carol Lee Adams. And this one follows Ruth as she wakes up. In the first chapter, she is waking up with a concussion and a realization that she's in the midst of being kidnapped. Her kidnapper takes her to a decrepit, derelict cabin in the woods, and she realizes very quickly that she's not the first or second girl that this has happened to. She is victim number 7, and none of the other girls made it home. So she gets an opportunity to escape, which is amazing, but that's where we follow the rest of this book. She is now on the run from her captor, and he knows these woods way better than she does. So it is just a heart racing the entire time. She's on the run. She's trying to get away from him. She has no idea where she is. Like I said, she's in the middle of the woods, and everywhere she turns, it seems she's about to run into this man, or this man's about to find her, and you're just on the edge of your seat as the reader, not knowing what's going to happen and how she can possibly survive this, especially because she gets injured, and it's just this one keeps you on the edge of your seat as well. So the next book that we're going to talk about is actually one that I read when my son Holden was first born. Like, he was just a baby when I read this, and he's now 4 years old. And I remember thinking to myself how scary this would be, because I was a new mom and I had a son. And this book is called Fierce Kingdom by Jen Phillips. And basically it follows a mother named Joan who takes her 4-year-old son to the zoo after school one day. They're just having a lovely, nice afternoon, just going to the zoo, going for a little walk. They had a snack, everything's great. They're about to leave when all of a sudden they hear screaming, and the mother realizes that there is a shooting going on in the zoo. So she runs back into the zoo with her son, and the rest of the entire book takes course over the next 3 hours, where she's trying to hide from these shooters. And I just, oh my gosh, I just remember reading this, like I said, being a new mom, being like, oh my God, this is the most terrifying situation that could ever happen. Like that, it's just so scary. She's trying to protect her kid, and also, like, if you know anything about kids, especially that age, 4 years old, my son's 4 years old right now, A, doesn't listen well, B, does not understand, like, if something is an absolute emergency, would not just like listen to you. He's gonna be defiant. He's gonna be like, no, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't imagine having to go through something like this as a mother. If you have kids and you read this, no, so anxiety inducing. But this, once again, definitely very, very good thriller. Once again, I keep saying, keeps you on the edge of your seat. Like, every book that I am recommending to you guys is going to keep you on the edge of your seat. These are books that you are just flipping through the pages because you can't stop. You can't put them down because you just need to know what happens next. And they start off with a bang. So next we are going to be talking about The Safest Lies by Megan Miranda. And this book follows our protagonist, whose name is Kelsey. And Kelsey lives in a very unique situation because her mother was kidnapped when she was younger, and her father is the kidnapper. So Kelsey's mother ended up escaping her situation, being pregnant with Kelsey. So she's never met her father. But because of the traumatic experience that her mother went through, she has never left her house in 17 years. She is basically a shut-in, a recluse. She's overly paranoid because her captor is still out there. So she's kind of set them up in a way where, like, their house is kind of like secluded. She's got every possible security feature you can possibly imagine. And she has always taught Kelsey how to be safe. So in any sort of situation, how to get out of it, how to avoid being kidnapped, always basically raising her daughter to be looking over her shoulder at every single opportunity. And like I said, her mother has never left the house. She gets all her groceries delivered. She works at a job that she can work from home. And she's just very, very scared of what happened to her. So that being said, one day, Kelsey comes home to find her mother gone, missing again, without a trace. She's never prepared for something like this. Her mother has always taught her what to do in every sort of situation, but she has never prepared for something like this. So basically, she is going on, I want to say an adventure, but it's definitely not really an adventure. She's trying to figure out where her mom went, and she kind of gets tangled up in some scary situations along the way. So really, really good. I love stories about missing people because I find it fascinating, A, and B, it's like a huge fear of mine as well. And you know, like, even like what I was saying with the true crime thing with the other book, is that I'm also a huge, like, hugely into true crime, and it really scares me to think of either myself being kidnapped or my kids or something like that. So when I read books about kidnappings, it takes my fear to a whole new level. It's one of those things that can absolutely happen, and that's what makes it scarier. And the last book that we are going to talk about today is also another audiobook that I read recently, and that is called Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. And this book follows basically 3 different perspectives, I guess. So first of all, the first woman that goes missing in this book, her name is Shelby. Following that, Meredith and her daughter Delilah also go missing. Now, in the second chapter, Delilah comes home. So it's 11 years later. Delilah has been missing for 11 years and she manages to make it home. The second chapter of this book is, no, cat. Sorry, you guys, my cat's like trying to rub up against like all of a sudden lately, the last few videos that I've been filming, she tries to rub up against my ring light and it just makes my video all shaky. I did a cleaning video on my other channel and one of the clips in there is just like shaking. Anyways. Yeah, so Delilah's been missing for 11 years, and in the second chapter you read kind of her escape. And it is so scary and it's so heartbreaking to see the conditions that she's been kept in. When she comes home, it's completely different from where she's been kept the past 11 years. But because of this, now they're trying to wonder, like the police and everyone is trying to wonder, like, who did this to you? And also if these incidents are connected, because these women all went missing and they were all from the same neighborhood. So this story really does take you on a wild ride of what actually happened to these women. And there was, along the way, I kind of thought that I had figured out who did it. But I even got further twisted after that. So like I thought I kind of figured it out, and then a twist came that I was like, nope, didn't see that coming. So that's what I really love, when a thriller can really like twist you and you think you have it figured out, and then you're partially right, but then there's still another twist on top of that you would have never thought of. That is good thriller writing, in my opinion. Anyways, so these were 5 thrillers that I think you guys will love for the Halloween fall season, and let me know in the comments down below if you have read them or if you plan to read them and what your thoughts on them are or were. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video.